emergency, I would ask that you exit through the rear doors. Make a left or right down the staircase to the front lawn to the rear parking lot. I'm going to ask Karen Howard from Senator Gallivan's office to lead us in the pledge after our 30 seconds of silent prayer. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Karen, and give our best regards to Senator Gallivan.
I will.
This meeting will be dedicated in memory of Angelo Latanzio Sr. Madam Clerk, will you take the roll?
Supervisor Reed.
Present.
Councilman Hart.
Present.
And Councilman Manley.
Present.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 22nd, 2018 town board meeting.
Second.
Anything on the question? Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing to consider the local law 2018-5 tax levy override in the town of West Seneca.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to item number 1, from Chief Daniel Denz, kindly change the status of part-time safety dispatchers Gerald Mazurkowitz, Kayla Ware, Norman Breen, to part-time seasonal from November 1st, 2018 through November 30th, and authorize the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2, also from Chief Daniel Denz, kindly move to appoint Matthew Greenan as public safety dispatcher, part-time, effective Tuesday, November 6th, at a pay rate of $15 per hour, authorizing the supervisor to complete and sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? I know Matthew is here. Yes, Matthew. Congratulations. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is also from Daniel Denz. Please authorize Detective Lieutenant Kevin Baranowski to attend the New York State Arson Investigation Seminar, November 7th through November 9th. This seminar is to be held in New York State Academy of Fire Science and is required to maintain this certification as an arson investigator. The total cost of this training is $375.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 4 is from Matthew English, our highway superintendent. Please terminate Norman Locker as part-time sanitation laborer, appoint him as full-time sanitation laborer at a rate of $19.50 an hour per the blue-collar contract effective November the 6th, 2018, contingent upon his passing of drug and alcohol testing, authorizing the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question?
Yeah, I just wondered, Matt, I know I've asked you this many times over the last several years, but could you just outline what's happening here and what the procedure is?
Okay, unfortunately, we had a employee pass away, Jason Terry of cancer, and we are everybody is moving up by seniority. Jason worked in highways, guys moved to highway, guy from sanitation moves up, guy from an alternate moves up to sanitation. Norman is here, he's put 3 years in as an alternate.
He also has a CDL.
Yes, he does have a CDL.
Norman, you want to stand?
He's put in his due time, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Look at you, Norman, you look like an airman. I like it. Very nice, congratulations. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 5 is also from Matthew English. Please terminate Samuel Joya from highway laborer and appoint him highway motor equipment operator, Group 2, Step 5, at a rate of $29.45 an hour, effective November the 6th, as per the blue collar contract, and have the supervisor sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question?
Again, this is in line with what you just
Yes.
described. Thank you.
Is he here?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 6 is also from Matthew English, our highway superintendent. Please terminate Chris Nowinski as sanitation motor equipment operator. Appoint him as highway laborer, Group 1, Step 3, at a rate of $23.53 per hour per the blue collar contract effective November 6, 2018, and have the supervisor sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? Is Christopher here?
No.
No, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 7 is from Mary Josephat, our recreation therapist for senior services. Kindly change the status of Janice Kropczynski from part-time typist to West Seneca Senior Center to seasonal part-time effective November 5th, 2018 through Monday, December 31st, 2018, and authorize the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 8 is also from Mary Josephat, asking the board to approve the hiring of Robert Mayer, a part-time van driver for the senior center, as effective 11/5/18 at a starting rate of $11 per hour, contingent upon the passing of drug and alcohol testing, and authorizing the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question?
Yeah, the question, Mary had stated earlier, this is not, it is a new hire, but it's replacing somebody else that had passed away that was a part-time van driver.
That's correct. Thank you, Councilman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 9 is from Lauren Massett, our recreation supervisor. Kindly move to approve the attached youth open gym program.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We just want to remind the public that West Seneca West Senior High School will host its 28th annual Veterans Day commemoration on Friday, November the 9th, starting at 8 a.m. in the gymnasium. Students will honor the veterans through patriotic readings, artwork, and music. This year's theme is Veterans Day, 100 Years of Honor and Remembrance, celebrating the centennial commemoration of World War I and 100 years since honoring veterans and remembering those lost to war. The special guest speaker will be Margaret Quinn, a retired staff sergeant in the U.S. Army. Relatives of the students and staff who are currently or have served in the military and all public are encouraged to attend this commemoration. Also on that note of the Veterans Ceremony, this 46th Annual Veterans Day Ceremony, sponsored by the West Seneca Veterans Committee, will be held this Sunday, November the 11th at 11 a.m. at the Walkway of Freedom in Veterans Memorial Park between West Seneca Town Hall. The Walkway of Freedom was established in June of 2011 to honor the veterans who have served the United States by giving their time and some ultimately their lives in military service to this country. And light refreshments will be followed at the American Legion Post 735, that is across from the CCL building. Okay, moving on to, yes, I'm going to ask that we approve Jacqueline Felser, Town Clerk's report for October of 2018.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I'd like to make a motion to approve the warrant.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. And also, anyone from the public that has a comment, feel free to come on up and give your comment. There's no need to give us your name or location, just give us your comment.
Good evening.
Take it down a notch if you would.
In accordance with some communications with good Miss Felser's office, I'll try to redress my line of fire. Let's go good, bad, the ugly. The good, I wanted to convey my thanks to West Seneca for continually, at least last year, hopefully you guys do it again this year, putting out the nativity scene, the menorah during our holiday seasons. I certainly appreciate that wholeheartedly. The bad, there were no public comments open for regarding the communications you didn't make it available. I'm not saying I wanted to stand up, but maybe the good individuals that just got hired up maybe wanted to say something. But on the list, you failed to overlook that.
You're absolutely right, I did.
Right.
Usually, when I do that, I get one of my
That's-
councilmen remind me.
That's all right. The ugly, I just implore all of my fellow West Seneca residents to vote no on expansion of the town board. We see our taxes continuing to go up and up and up. Do we really want to pay more to pay 2 more people to rob us blind? So I just implore you, please, vote no.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone further? Okay.
Dale Clark, Indian Church Road. Before I start, I encourage them to vote yes. Because I think 5 is a lot more representative than 3. And 3 has cost this town a fortune, okay? Have you said that? Have you people, my discussions I had with your last meeting as far as the electrical engineer, going around and making
Yes,
money.
Mr. Clark, we did address that with Mr. Schieber, and he is going to respond to your accusations. Go ahead, Jeff.
I would just ask for a list of those addresses and questions, would be my first request. And I tell you, my statement to you would be the following. Electrical hazards are deemed solely on the exterior of your property. Those consist of 2 things. Temporary connections, which happen sometimes, and also the outside service wire providing service to your house, to your meter. Under no circumstance would there be a requirement to relocate your electric service. So I would just ask for those addresses or names, or have those people contact me, and then I can determine what was done, I guess would be mine.
But see, that's kind of like a runaround to my question. My question was, that job was created to give the town some revenue. It wasn't there to rape the people in the town. And as far as, let me get to first things first. It'd be easier for the town to get all the letters that he sent out to people than it would be for me to try and track people down. He's gotta have copies of that. Just go in there and ask him for every letter that was sent out to an individual in this town that he basically is saying the service is in danger of that piece of property.
Mr. Clark, you made it very clear to this board, the last board meeting, that you had several people call you personally.
This is true, this is true.
That was your
But
ask.
what I'm saying
So
is,
he's asking you
as
for
a
those
whole,
people's
Sheila,
names.
don't single 1 or 2 people out.
I know,
And I
you
don't
are.
have the records of that. You people do.
You
But my
are.
point here is, you're avoiding the overall question. The overall
not,
question is,
Clark.
this man is creating revenue for the town at the expense of the taxpayers.
Okay.
And you don't inspect something 5 and 6 different times. Commonwealth didn't do it, this guy shouldn't do it. And then you turn around and you give him a raise 2 years in a row. We don't need that in this town. You're paying taxes as it is. You shouldn't have to have one piece of property inspected 5 different times and then have this guy charge you every time he goes in there. That's a revenue. That's taking advantage of the people in this town. And I've known for a fact, as people talk to me about, especially senior citizens, when they're getting letters from this guy stating the service on my property, coming from the pole, is old. That wasn't this guy's job. This guy's job was to inspect people that remodeled their house and people that are building houses. Not to go around and look for work in this town so they can have revenue. I know for a fact that some lady, when she got 2 letters from this gentleman, called the electric company and asked the electric company, I got 2 letters from the town stating that service coming to my house from your pole is dangerous. What, you people at the electric company, what's so dangerous about it? We ain't sending you a letter. There's no danger as far as we're concerned. And that's the electric company. So this guy's creating revenue. You've got the records of it. Let's just cut through the chase, get all the letters that this man has sent out since he's been here. And I'll bet you there's probably quite a few. And you guys got the record, am I right?
Sure.
You gotta have a record of it. Then why are you asking me to
Because
basically
you-
do something?
because
I don't
you
know who's
offered-
calling this town.
Mr. Clark, you offered to give us the names of the people that have called you at the last board
I'm gonna
meeting.
tell you something, it'd be easier for you if you want to basically stop the people from being abused. It'd be easier for you to go to the electrical inspector and ask him for these letters. That's if you people that were elected to represent the people
Okay.
really want to represent the people.
Yeah.
Now, if you want a revenue, by all means, let them gouge the hell out of the people.
All right.
Del, we agree with you. We're not saying.
Well, then why are you making it hard on me? Get the records.
Hold on. At the last meeting, you said you had some addresses where people
Yeah.
were, we, since that time, I went to the clerk's office, I asked for how much revenue has been in going back to these houses and checking trust. This month's report has one re-inspection fee of $40. So we agree with you, but we don't know if he's sending those letters, maybe they are in the court. I didn't ask that question because you said you had people that.
Well then, okay, do me a favor. To save me time and make it easier on you people that are supposed to be representing the people in this town, why don't you go, as this guy is a department head, go and investigate who he's sending these letters out to, and how many times he's gotta go back to inspect, and how much money he's charging these people, and how much money the town's making.
We will do that.
Thank you very much. It's a lot easier for you to do it than it is for me.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
Thank you. Then you'll get back to me on that.
Yes,
Okay? And I'd love to know how many letters were sent out, if it's okay with you guys.
sure.
Okay, thank you. Now, I have a question for you because, again, I was told, okay, or informed. Could you tell us what's going on at the soccer complex? Are you people out that sell the soccer complex?
I just heard that today, Clarky, and I have to tell you, I don't know where these imaginary things are coming from, Facebook, the Disney Channel, whatever, absolutely not.
Mr. The town could not alienate parkland, which that has been dedicated as, without an act of the state legislature.
Thank you. Well, you know,
So
to be
tell
now,
those people that
is-
came to you that they're telling you a story.
Well, hang on a minute, hang on. Part two, is it being leased out?
No.
Being leased out to who?
And even if it
That's what I'm gonna ask you.
even if it was a long-term lease, Mr. Clark, it would still need to go through that process.
Okay.
A long-term lease is alienation.
So,
There's a statute.
the soccer complex isn't trying to be sold and it's not being leased out.
That's correct.
So tell the coffee group that story is not
Tell
valid.
Timmy Everly that it's not.
Okay,
so.
okay. And my last thing is, basically, the coffee shop.
The coffee
I asked a
shop?
while ago about the Spot Coffee over there, and I was told that they were gonna remodel that building.
They're doing it right now, Clarky, if you wanna come in tomorrow morning, I'll take it for you.
We just went over there and looked.
We
okay,
can't do
so,
that, Clarky, 'cause you don't
Can I
know
ask you, who's doing the electrical work in there?
Who's doing
The
it?
electrical work?
Their people. We-
Spot Coffee,
Yes.
Yep,
not our people.
No.
But then we have to get this service to them.
Okay, and who's buying the furniture for it?
the furniture is purchased by the town, Clarky. That space, the outside space, is the town space.
Well, then,
Spot Coffee only leased the inside restaurant
when I
area.
was told Spot Coffee's gonna finish that, by you, Sheila.
Spot Coffee's gonna finish the floor,
Well,
but they're not finishing,
then it's gonna cost the town of West Suffolk.
they're not furnishing it, Clarky.
Okay, so we're furnishing the furniture and stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
What else are we furnishing?
That's it.
Okay, and what's that gonna cost the town?
I don't know.
So
I
we're
haven't gotten to that.
And my
I'm going-
question going back to is basically everything spent as far as that library, then that's not true because we are still spending money
Well,
in
it's
there.
not just a library, again.
Right.
It's a community center and the library.
Right.
And no, we're not to that point yet.
And did you end up getting any money to finish the councilman's offices and the supervisor's office in there? Is that being worked on?
That's, right now, that is not being worked on upstairs. No, it has become a locker room, if you will, or a closet. There's everything.
So then that's not being worked on?
No. It's all storage upstairs.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So you can go back to your source, but you all know who it is, and tell him he's wrong again.
Dick Saluda, 29 Singer Drive, West Seneca. The last time I was here, Mr. Hanley, and we had a talk on the streetlights again. To this day, the lights on Ridge Road are still, the ones that were never done, still aren't done. The old heads are still up there on top of the bridge, on the transmission lines, the ones over on Sun. Pardon me?
Which lights are those?
The ones on Ridge Road going toward the city of Lackawanna, on the side of Delta Sonic. You can look up in the air, the pole is marked as it's been changed, but the head is still the old head. Okay. Now, I know that one's gonna be a problem because of the transmission system above there, because there's a lot of induction up there. But that's not the only one that's not done. And I was told I was told the last time they were working on it, I was told today they were working on it, but you know, there's nobody around working on anything. So I don't know what Danforth is telling you, or what
We just got a status report, I can share that with you right now, I have to go through all my emails to find it, but there is a status report, they are out there working. You are correct, those two on Ridge Road and those two on Orchard Park have not been fixed yet.
What about the ones on, Center Road and the ones on Seneca Street over by over the railroad tracks over the bridge goes across there?
Without looking at the list, I couldn't tell you which ones have been fixed, which ones are still, I don't know.
Okay,
They're out there working on it, but I can't tell you sitting here which lights have been fixed.
all right. In regard to the electrical inspections, the town is giving, Jeff, who is the electrician doing the coffee shop?
The town of West Seneca, is in conjunction with the original building, is required to provide the electrical service. The subsequent work will take place by Spot Coffee.
Who's the contractor, electrical contractor doing the electrical work?
That has not been started yet. The general contractor is Lamparelli.
Okay.
The plumber, which is currently under work, that's Kimmel Construction. I just don't know the electrician yet.
When will you have that information?
I would think soon. I think Lamparelli was trying to sort that out, as to who it was gonna be.
Okay, is, he gonna confirm to the town permits and electrical specs that the town is requiring everybody else to do that library, to do that coffee shop?
Yeah, just for reference, we did file building permits. They
I'm not
paid
talking about
fees.
the building, I'm talking about the electrical permits.
Sure, all, plumbing permit was filed, and then subsequently the electrical permit will be filed with the associated fees.
Okay, who filed the electrical permits?
It hasn't been filed yet.
Oh.
We require that the licensed electrician do that, sir.
You're right, okay. You owe me some information when I can get it from you,
I'll give you a little bit.
otherwise I'm gonna keep on your tail.
That's all right. That's all right.
All right,
Thank you.
yeah.
Anyone further?
Hi, Sally Givello, Mill Road. Just, I'm interested to know if there's any new businesses pending coming into the area?
In West Seneca?
Yes, in your town.
There's some proposals, there's some real estate, there's a 38 unit on Transit Road, there's a condo development proposed for Seneca Creek, there's a car wash for Transit Road, things like that. Is there something, there was a truck center that was gonna go in at the industrial park. Yeah, there's a lot of talk, but those I think are off the top of my head, those are the four that have been proposed so far.
Is it on the corner of Union and, what is it, Garden Village over there, the truck, is that the truck center you're talking about?
No, that's Chickawaga,
Okay.
that's their problem.
Oh, okay,
That's Benderson.
okay. No, I'm just interested to know if there's any new restaurants or anything planned, anything we can look forward to?
You can always
No.
reach out to the chamber, they're always working too.
Okay.
We had a rush of things during the summer, but right now it's quieted down with the holiday season, so I'm sure in January we'll have more inquiries and more applications.
All right.
I work closely with code enforcement and our development director who works for the chamber. And we're always trying to bring in new business in the town. We did have, as I said, a rush this summer. Some were successfully, started. And I think it was 3 of them, they were all in the industrial park. And they were different types of businesses.
Okay, I see that the owner of the Southgate Plaza is planning to put some things in the bond tender, so that looks
I
good.
mean, do we know what they're, Jeff?
Yeah, we had conversations with the owner. He provided us renderings and stuff which only dealt with the facade of the building. More specifically, the side fronting Seneca Street
Right,
and the reverse side opposite of Union Road
right,
is simply gonna continue the storefront glazing around the first floor. And then there'll be some windows to the second floor. It was not revealed to us any sort of plans as to what was gonna be there.
There's elevators being installed in that plan, and so I think they're gonna basically make that into a business center. I heard rumors that there may be a large chain, restaurant on the first floor, but we have nothing official. And if we did get it, and Jeffrey provided to me, we would work with Southgate and our development director to develop a plan
okay.
going forward.
Well, anything would be good, you know, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone further? Okay.
Susan Kim's 99 Covington. I'm wondering, do you put together a agenda for your work sessions? Is that something that you've done or would be available?
We do not.
Sue, this is the way it works. The supervisor tells the department head what they need to do, and then we do it.
I had a couple of questions that pertain to the communications part of the agenda this evening, and we didn't get to speak to them previous, so item number 2, Matthew Green, a part-time safety dispatcher, and I believe that was for the police department. I'm wondering, was that position advertised, and is it a new position?
The chief is always accepting applications, and the chief, you should respond.
You guys give me that answer yet, Pat?
Yes, please do, sir.
It is not a new position. We always have several open part-time positions. It was not advertised on the website, however, we advertise that through the fire districts because that takes a special skill and demeanor to do that particular job. So I go to all the fire commissioners meetings and the fire chiefs meetings, and when we're looking to recruit, we usually recruit out of the fire service for that.
And item number 4, Norman Walker, the full-time sanitation laborer. I'm assuming that we did not advertise that full-time position. We constantly take part-time applications from Matthew.
Well, I'm sure you heard Matt say that he worked for the town part-time
Yeah.
for 3 years.
Okay.
And that's going through winters and heavy hot summers and everything. They earn their position. And that is how Matt makes that distinction between those who can do the job and those who just think they want a job.
That was the second part of my question. Had he worked for us and how long? And if it was a new position, but as I found out that it was actually,
The hardest workers start in sanitation. That's one of the hardest jobs.
Just
here.
about anybody.
and the lowest paid in this town.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Minimum wage for 3 years, no benefits. And also, if you wanted to apply, Mrs. Kennedy would do that.
I don't.
But anybody, any able-bodied person who applies will go on that list, and they weed themselves out.
They do.
Okay, and item number 8 was for the senior center, Robert Mayer, part-time van driver, and again, was that position advertised?
Always. Mary's takes applications, people come in, a lot of the people that volunteer at the center, she always encourages those gentlemen and ladies if they're interested in a position like that. But Mary told, you were at the work session today, she said that gentleman had passed away. So Mary goes into her list of people that have applied for that position. And she interviews them, and then the process begins.
So I think that position is only 1 day a week, that's all it
It
is.
is only 1 day a week, but he's, you know.
I
Anything
guess
further?
the reason I ask those questions are, yes, we may take applications all the time,
We do.
but if I'm looking for a job today, I may not have known that you said that a year ago, that you always have applications sitting there that you
Say that all the
refer
time.
to.
We always
It's
do.
listed on
It's
the
our
It's on the website.
It's always on the
It's listed on the
website.
Job openings every.
You're always on the website, I can't believe you don't see it.
The full-time, for the full-time?
We don't have full-time jobs on the website. What full-time job are you talking about?
Well, the only full-time jobs that aren't civil service would be what, with?
A van driver works 6 hours, 1 day a week, that was his position. The gentleman that received the full-time job in sanitation worked 3 years and earned his keep. The other position was a part-time dispatcher. There's no full-time job there, Susan, only the sanitation kit.
And I'm not disputing that. All I'm saying is when we have positions that are open, that anyone can apply for, the public doesn't know that.
It's on the website.
I don't get it.
We take part-time applications all the time.
That's all we take.
We don't
That's all we
know,
take.
we don't know when there might be we the public do not know when you might have a full-time position open.
We don't have a full-time position open, Susan. That position for that sanitation driver or laborer would never be published as a position open to the public. There's a process. You work part-time in sanitation. After you get full-time in sanitation, you move into highway. But you cannot be hired full-time in sanitation unless you have a CDL license.
Okay.
Sue, if I can add to that, these sanitation guys that are here, they show up every morning for about 3 years. Sometimes they get sent home because there is no work, nobody called in sick, there is a reason, so they get sent home. They come back the next day and the day after, and they may have a chance to work that day. Maddie, you know, maybe it's not the best plan, but it works fantastic, it's a great way. You weed out the kids that really wanna work.
Yeah.
You keep the ones that
Sue,
really
I think
wanna
I can explain this a little bit better. Not better, but everybody starts at part-time, like, I know you're saying you got in full-time, but the very first job that I consider you for is summer help. That's the first job. If you have a good, so I hired Dan Dens as a summer help worker in buildings and grounds and highway. Okay, those are part-time applications. It's on the website 24/7. Okay, so you come over to highway department, Dan Dens fills out an application. Okay, so now in the spring, I'm looking for buildings and grounds and I'm looking for highway part-time employees. So in that file, 2018 applications, I go through them all. Okay, I call the kids in for interviews. So now we're done with 2018. So Dan comes in today and says, hey, I'm not gonna be hiring any part-time till March or April of next year, 2019. So Dan comes in, Lauren comes in, you come in, I interview. I hire the best kids part-time that wanna be. Now, some of these kids are college kids. They just wanna work the summer and then hit the road, you know? But other kids are looking to make it a career. So I tell them, if you are a good summer help employee, you're here for 3 months. If you are a good summer help employee and you wanna move up to an alternate, that's how you work it. So then he goes to an alternate, just like Norm Locker did. Norm worked summer help in highway department, I believe, right?
Yep.
Filled blacktop, filled potholes. He was a good employee all summer, didn't miss any time. Next summer came in, I'm looking for some guys to go to alternate. Which guys want it? Hey, Dan, you want to become an alternate in garbage? No, sir, no, Mr. English, I'm going to Cortland. Okay. Norm, you want it? Yeah, I'll take it. So now you move up to alternate. If you're a good alternate, you know, I have guys that last on alternate for a week. They don't like the smell of the grass. And they're like, ooh, I'm out of here, man. You know, or they just don't like it. And then what happens is you're a good alternate, you move up, you move up, you move up. That's how it goes. So basically, there is no full-time that I can give anybody. Everything I give is part-time, then you earn full-time.
The reason I'm asking that is, you were the one that told me that someone can't go just from sanitation into highway into buildings and grounds. They have to apply as a new employee. And you said that at a meeting, Matthew.
I'd like to see those
Yeah,
minutes.
and I wrote it down as you said it, and I'll go back and research it and get that to you.
No, you don't have to, once you're an employee part-time, I'm looking to see how good of an employee you are, and if you're good, you move up the ladder. Yeah.
But that is what you said, that someone going from
I know, you said it
sanitation would
would
have to reapply to go into one of the other departments. You said that.
Okay, and you said that we did sidewalks and Covington.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it's, moving from sanitation to highway is based on seniority.
The going from sanitation to highway is
If
based
you
on
have-
seniority, those are full-time guys in sanitation.
Correct. That's the only way to get there.
And so I don't think there's anybody in this room would dispute that we have the best sanitation and highway work.
And I would not for 1 minute say it was any different than that.
Do you have anything
Right.
further?
I do.
We're just beating a dead horse here, so keep going.
Correct.
At a previous meeting, Mrs. Megan, you had mentioned at the end of a meeting that we were gonna get another park. You added that in, at the end of a meeting.
We did look, we are thinking about doing a dog park.
And we talked about it a couple of years ago up at the state school property.
Yeah.
They were gonna give that park portion of that area, their old playground area to us. And we thought, what a great place to have a dog park. We could name it Jackie's Field.
But we have also talked about other locations within property we already own for a dog park. We just don't have the funding to do it yet.
We have discussed with our grant writer some funding for a dog park. We get asked for a dog park all the time, and not just from Jackie. Anything further?
Because I don't want anyone to misunderstand me, I think that we do have the hardest, lowest paid best guys in sanitation that I've seen in a long time. I've lived in 2 different states now. We have a lot of good employees in this town.
We do.
I was not trying to be a dead horse, just the fact that if you have a full-time position and the public is not aware and they might be able to apply for it, they don't know.
Right, and that there's no full-time positions that are available unless, of course.
Except in buildings and grounds,
That's correct.
appointments only.
That's correct.
So I would say these guys pick up anything as long as you don't leave it next to a TV. These guys back there, they'll pick up everything.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kent. Anyone further?
Hi, Gary Dixon, 543 Union Road. Just from my reading of the blue collar contract, so going from sanitation to highway requires, it's not strictly seniority, right? You pick from among the 3 highest
Yes.
senior. And how is that seniority determined? Is it when they become full-time or when they become part-time or?
What seniority?
In the contract, it says that when you select someone to go into highway from sanitation,
Okay,
it's from the 3 highest, the 3 guys with the most
when they
seniority.
became full-time.
Full-time, okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
And the other thing is, so in your letter to promote Mr. Nowinski, which is somewhere here, you say, step 1, but you really meant step 3, right?
Yes, they changed that today, yes.
Right, okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, I have that, they changed that.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Anyone further?
Jim Lawson, 69 Pine Court North. What I'd like to talk about or ask about are term limits. It came up last time when Mr. Kim's was here, so I'd just like to add something to that. I've talked to a lot of people as I go throughout the town, talked to a lot of elected officials about term limits. Last time Mr. Kim brought it up and we kind of talked quickly about it and moved on, but I'd like to add a little bit more to it. Last time the supervisor had said when that was happening that we have term limits and that they're called elections. Is that correct?
Correct.
You did. The only problem with that is we have a 97% incumbency rate with elected officials. So to call those term limits, I think, is a little disingenuous, right? That's a large number.
But you can't blame that on us.
No,
Can't
no, I
blame
don't,
it
I'm
on
just,
the person that's running for office.
no, I'm just
People
pointing
like
out the
them.
statement. To say that we have elections and those are term limits, it really doesn't work out that way.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Okay, thank you. I think most people would call that kind of a rigged political system, meaning that it's above board, but it does.
A little rough, but
Right.
go ahead.
Okay. And then Mr. Hart talked about, when we talked about term limits, you brought up the issue of, it wasn't, I don't know if you said it wasn't constitutional, I don't think you said that.
No, that was me, and I was wrong.
Okay, well, I was actually gonna give you more credit than that, I was gonna say then Mr. Fence corrected Mr. Hart, but I'll take it the way you said it, or Gene will.
I was not wrong.
I was,
No?
I was wrong, he was right.
There you go.
Some of them I
Get
wrong.
that.
It's on it.
So,
It's hard sitting next to them, so.
so what I'd like to do, I don't know if you had a chance, that we've determined what your statement was, is that the town of Amherst does have term limits.
They do.
So I'd like to give you a copy of this, if I can approach.
Sure. Go ahead.
The officer doesn't have to.
And you recall my question to Mr. Fenn was, how does Amherst do it?
Right. And here's how they do this.
They have a local.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, thanks, John.
He did his job for him.
Well, that's actually part of my next statement.
Okay.
And I've handed out to the public some of those as well, so they, not everybody, but they have an idea of what I'm talking about. So, with that being done, and I don't want to add more work to Mr. Fens or pay him extra money to go overtime and work out a new law,
He doesn't get overtime.
okay, that's,
Sure don't.
so I think what we should do, the board could do, is to look at the laws that's written within the town of Amherst and just scratch out Amherst and put in West Seneca. So it saves any money, any extra time, he doesn't have to do any research. Because I think most of us, maybe behind me, would agree that the way the law is written, that it's fine, it's appropriate. It's actually section 55-3 is where I would make one change. And that change would be consecutive. I think I highlighted one on yours, gonna give you my copy. But where it says consecutive, I would leave out that part and just do two term limits. George Washington, I'm sure that everybody knows, was the one who actually brought in term limits way back when, that he term limited himself. So I'd also,
Didn't start until after FDR.
well, FDR went to 4 years.
All right,
but-
well, he wants to get this civic
Okay.
license, so let him.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You can correct me, yeah.
So it's a
so-
copycat world, I appreciate this information,
I'm not done.
okay?
Thank you.
Here we
I'm
go.
almost done. Cut me off then. So under that, I would change that. One of the thoughts was, and I was gonna give the town board credit, that as, well, we don't know what everybody's going to do, but I think we kind of hear what everybody's going to do, and you're almost term limiting yourself. 2 consecutive terms, I think, is where most people sit, and you're doing it for yourself. So I think you believe in the idea, and if it's good enough for George Washington, and it's good enough for FDR, and it's good enough for Amherst, why can't it be good enough for the town of West Seneca? Your last point about, yes, we are a copycat, that's what happens, it's called best practices.
Correct.
There's a well practice done there, so why can't the town of West Seneca do it? Now, I'll bring up one more point, is that when I brought up an issue about when we have our town board meetings, they were on the same night as the school board meeting. The next week, or the next 2 weeks, I skipped the town board meeting and went to the school board meeting. I stood in this same position, talked to the school board, and they said, oh, okay, let us call it to order, let's have a discussion about it. So at that point, the school board had a discussion amongst everyone, they called it to question, somebody made a motion, someone seconded, it was up to a question. They discussed the question, at the end, the school board made a motion, and it got passed to change their meetings to a Tuesday. No way in any form that I'm taking credit for making that happen, it was a discussion that was happening, and I was just there at the right time. My point is, they had a discussion in open forum, in front of the public, as good open government should do, that they talked about changing something that they already have in place. Why can't our town board do that same idea?
I'll answer that one.
Thanks.
The, last year, we took some abuse or some heat for not communicating in open government. That was through the Paul Wolf report. Since then, that report came out again, and
It
not
did,
one,
you got it,
not
an A
one
rating.
speaker, not one speaker came up and said, congratulations, West Seneca, for getting an
Congratulations.
A+, okay? Or an A, I don't remember an A+. We were 8 out of 9 for compliance. John Fenz and we had a discussion about that. I think we were 9 from 9. We missed one word on what we said to the public, so we did get an A+ for open government.
That's right, and I gave you credit for doing the term limit thing, term limiting yourself. So you're obviously in favor of open government, that would be a correct statement, right?
Absolutely.
So why can't you do this in open forum? What the public looks for is a discussion, because we know with 3, you can't go behind closed doors, or you can't have separate meetings. You have a discussion in front of everyone, so they can see where people stand and your rationale, why you feel one way compared to another. That's what the public looks for. So I'm asking for an open discussion on term limits tonight.
Well, you'd have to give us a little chance to think about it. If we shot something out right now, you would throw it all over your Facebook page.
I don't have a
and
Facebook
we didn't
page.
have a chance to even think about it. That's not a fair question.
No, I think it is fair. Why didn't the school board have that same objection?
I'm sure
It's a
the
discussion.
Loss in the school board, we put out our calendar in January.
I understand the reason.
They put out theirs in May. They know what our calendar looks like, but yet they are on the same Monday nights as ours. You gotta give Amy Carpenter and her mother credit, because they, year after year, they ask that.
Right?
But we always establish our calendar first. So
That's not my point.
my point is, we do everything we can. You know, back in the day, there was only like 14 meetings held a year. We're close to 30 meetings every year here
It's
with this
appreciated.
board, So you want open government? We're giving you open government.
Right.
But your ask here, like, and giving us this, you know, if this is something that you really feel, we could do a public hearing on it, let the public talk about it, change the code. Absolutely. We have one town in the county of Erie that has term limits. Good for them.
Right.
Good for them. They did it. But we're not saying to you, sir, tonight that we're going to go ahead and put this on the next public hearing. We're not. Well, we can think about it. You can talk about it. You're running for supervisor. If you're lucky enough to win, you can make that happen. But right now, you know what our positions are. You
I
know
don't
where
know,
we
I know
stand.
your position, I don't know the other councilman's position, so.
I'll give
I
you
don't
my
think they have to
position.
give it
That's
to you.
fine, thank you,
Well,
Gene.
I'll give you my position. I favor, term limits, all right? But I'm not prepared to really go out and talk about it in detail now. I see they refer to municipal home rule, section 10-1-2A, I think it is, and I was just looking to see what that said. I'd like to know more about that, and I'd like
Good
to know
point.
more about why or how the town of Amherst went about it.
Yeah, in all
And
fairness,
I
let's
think
make
it's
it
all
formal.
in fairness to the supervisor.
So
I
you
think
could table
When
it?
when you start talking
It's
about
not an
something,
agenda item, sir.
well, we're not really in that point.
Yeah, I can only try.
But, I certainly would be willing to come up and give a proposal and have a public hearing or a meeting sometime. Not too-
So it would only
not
seem that
too-
Mr. Hanley's,
If you want my opinion, you might not like it.
I asked it.
We don't know you're running for supervisor.
That's not why I'm
Hold
doing
on.
it. Mr. Kim's brought it up last time, it's not.
Yeah, but you came up and you approached us, and everybody behind you has to listen to, thinking what everything you're saying is got. When I sit up here, I don't want to be painted into a corner. I think Jim Lawson is running for supervisor. By throwing this on the table today, you're trying to eliminate any competition from anybody that's sitting up there.
I don't think that's true, because it's a free, everyone has the right to run.
It's what we think, right?
Oh, I don't care.
I didn't think you did, right.
And, I just wanna correct the
Right.
history. I'll just correct.
That's why I made the statement that I made, thank you,
I'll correct the history on George Washington.
thank you.
George Washington voluntarily limited to
He
two.
did, he self.
There was a constitutional amendment at the time of Truman that I believe Eisenhower was the first actually limited.
I think I said that he self-terminated himself, term limited himself.
It was also, you know, probably.
Different day and age.
That's because Gene was there.
Thank you.
I didn't want anybody to know that.
I was gonna say,
No, Bill said it, so I said it. All right, anyone else?
I just have one question. Last year, our taxes went up by 8.6%, correct?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
So, I wasn't here at the last meeting, but what did you guys determine the taxes to be going up this year?
Right now, the tentative budget is 4.39.
4.39.
That's 4.95,
3.
Well, we changed it.
3.95, 3.95.
Yeah, sorry, because we've changed it around. I'm sorry.
But we're not there yet. We're still, we had a meeting with our finance director this week. We're still pinching numbers everywhere we can, so.
And I'm just wondering, like, when do the contracts come up to be renegotiated?
21, 22, 23.
So there's 3 different contracts?
Police, white collar, and blue collar.
Who negotiates them contracts for the town?
The town board and labor council.
Labor Council does all the legwork. They come back to us. We say yes, no. We make changes. We question. Labor Council goes back to the negotiating table.
And if there's no agreement, then it goes to impasse. In the police department, it's mandatory negotiations, whatever the,
binding arbitration.
binding arbitration for the police, and it's voluntary arbitration for white collar and highway.
So
So
are,
we just finished an impasse of 2 years
2 years.
with
2
the
years?
highway department.
so are the majority of the contracts 3 years, 2 years, 4 years? I mean, or does it just depend on how things are being
It
negotiated?
depends on what is negotiated. And off the top of my head, I don't recall the different terms, but I think they're 4.
The board's reasoning of staggering the terms is, actually the day I walked in as town attorney, all 3 contracts expired
At the same time.
at the same time, so the idea was to stagger them out. That helps with bargaining positions amongst the unions, and it gives the town a little bit of a break with staggering the costs of labor council as well.
So let me ask you this, when you guys are negotiating these contracts and you guys are bargaining with the town people, is there any newsletter that comes out that discusses to the townspeople who pay the taxes, like what they're negotiating?
It's under the Taylor law, there's a set of established rules, and the collective bargaining negotiations during the process are deemed confidential amongst the parties. So that's trying to avoid politicizing any sort of the bargaining process.
Because I feel that, when us taxpayers who live in the town and you guys are negotiating the contracts, we're the ones that end up paying the bill. So, I mean, as you guys negotiate the contracts, and as you guys determine healthcare benefits, pensions, all this other stuff that eventually the taxpayers have to pay, we know nothing about what's going on when you guys are negotiating these contracts.
Pension, for example, pension is not a negotiable item that's set by the New York State retirement system. So it's a percentage, and they send us a bill every year based on whatever their earnings are.
But the rest of the stuff, the taxpayer knows nothing about what's going on as far as negotiations are concerned.
That's why you gotta vote.
So from
That's why you gotta vote.
personal experience, it's difficult for the board too, because, I mean, they and I, we sit through the budget hearings where we face criticism from the public
Right.
about the exact things that we're trying to get done, but we can't speak about that with the public, and, I mean, it's nothing more would the board want than to say, we're doing that, we're with you. It's difficult.
Under the general law, we just can't say, oh, we're not gonna pay this amount for healthcare any longer. We have to continue, when we're at impasse, we continue paying them all of the benefits that they have negotiated in previous contracts.
Right, but I mean, before you guys start negotiating, I mean, can't you have a meeting with the taxpayers and say, hey, guys, look at, this is what we have. I mean, this is what we're gonna try to get it down to. What do you guys think about this? I mean, that can happen before you guys start negotiating.
So we were notified today that workers' comp insurance for next year is going up 12.5%. So you gotta find.
I understand there's some things that, you know, you can't do anything about, but, I mean, for us that are kind of footing the bill for everything, I mean, don't you want our input? I mean,
Well, first and foremost, I think John made it very clear, we cannot make any of that information public. And as far as the employees, what we go back and forth, I mean, 2 years of negotiations, they can say no, as they have, until, you know, they've come to an agreement. So what is in play right now, I think a lot of people say, well, I'm gonna get rid of those union contracts. Good luck to you, because you can't get rid of those union contracts. So that perception is, first of all, it's unfair to the employees.
well, I'm not saying to be unfair to the workers.
No,
I'm just saying,
they've
if-
worked years for a contract that they've earned. But at the same time, as a taxpayer, we have to say.
well, everybody does that, though. Everybody works for years.
I understand that, but when you're talking about contracts, we're looking at something that, this is going to affect a budget. 85% of our budget, sir, just so you know, is mandated. We only have maybe 15% to work with.
Right.
This year in March, I stated to the public that we were already at 2.5% already, because we got a $350,000 bill from the Buffalo Sewer Authority, and we were hit with a compensation issue that now has already increased to close to $500,000.
Well, if 85% of our budget is mandated, how did we afford to build that library?
Well, sir, 3.5 million of it came in grant funding, and the additional funding was through bonding.
And it's more than a library too, sir.
No, I understand. I mean, it just seems like, I mean, it's an awful lot of money to spend on something that not everybody's gonna use.
Well, it's used.
Except our early numbers.
Well, it
show-
just got built, so we don't really know that for sure.
I can share sometimes, I don't have them memorized, but in 2016, I think we had 108,000 visitors to the West Seneca Public Library. In 2017, we had about 96,000. 2018, when we took the counter out, we were at 50,000 people.
Right.
We're on pace now to outnumber the Erie County Buffalo Public Library.
I'm not saying,
People
believe
do
me,
use the building.
I'm not saying, right, and I'm not saying that nobody uses the library. That's all I'm saying is, did it have to be that extravagant?
Well, if we didn't build it, somebody else was giving the money. Maybe the Erie County would have gave some of that money to Hamburg. Either way, the Erie County residents will go and pay part of that bill, no matter where the building is.
How much did Erie County give us to build the library?
Well, I don't know. It's tough, man.
Well, I think the point Bill wants to make is that grant funding would have went to another municipality, and we
Right.
were able to get that 3.5 million.
The library controls what the grants.
But it's also, these meetings are gonna be held in the community center, because JCAP doesn't really want us in this courtroom.
Okay.
When this was built in the 60s, it was built with the understanding that the town at that time was going to build a courthouse on the hill. But that never happened, so we're kind of grandfathered in. So our planning board, zoning board, town board meetings will all be held in the community room. It also houses our HR department, our legal department, our payroll department, our finance office. And on that side, it houses our recreation, with the gymnasium, and then, of course, we have the beautiful library. So and we have our Chamber of Commerce in there. So it is a mixed-use facility. It's unique. It's the only one in the state of New York, but other states have the same similar design. But this, yes, this is a little bit of forward thinking, but the opportunity was there for us and we took it. But you also have to know that when we started here, every single building in this town was in need of great repair. And unfortunately, we had to make that happen. The highway building was falling down.
Right. That's why I'm saying, why did we spend so much money on a library?
Well, we fixed the highway. We took down the Kiwanis building because that was falling down. We've expanded our police department, which was necessary. We were saddled with the Birchfield that, unfortunately, it was poorly designed, but we're gonna make sure that gets back where it should be, and it should be in play, and hopefully within the next year. But the senior center had a lot of issues that it needed to be taken care of. You know, we've spent $25 million in road reconstruction, and we're still not done. But there's so many things that were neglected in this town that we had to do. That $70 million sewer project, sir, I will offer you this. If we did not do that, and they were asked in 2000, in 2020, the bill would have came every day of a $50,000 fine because we weren't in compliance. This board had the intestinal fortitude to do what was right, and we did what was right. And yes, we are getting beat up because we're spending the money, but it was the right thing to do for this town. And I will guarantee you that so many families that were getting raw sewage in their basement by the hundreds, that no longer happen.
Oh, it happened to me. I can tell you that right now. I live on Arrowhead, and I can tell you that the pumps at the high school aren't pumping the water out fast enough to get the water out of people's basements. Are we gonna do anything about that?
Sir, those pumps have been there from the 60s, and our ask to the DEC has been, we want a siphon put in there, we want to eliminate those pumps, and we want to bring it from the situation that it's at now to where it should be. That's part of our ask, and they just gave us funding at a 0% interest rate to move forward with phase 5. So we're hoping by this time next year that we're gonna be able to get rid of those pumps and put a siphon.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone further? Thank you. Jeff Sheeber, do you have anything for us? Very good, thank you. Lauren Massett, do you have anything for us?
I will go very quickly. I'd like to thank all those who attended our annual Enchanted Path event last Friday. We had 473 visitors to the CCL, and I think it was a great opportunity for the public to see the building and how we're reinventing ourselves. There'll be a holiday skate on Monday, November 12th from 12 to 1:50 for all ages. There's information on the back podium. Breakfast with Santa tickets go on sale Tuesday, November 13th. Again, information on the back podium. And we will be releasing our new youth gym program that was approved tonight, so thank you, on our social media and website tomorrow.
Very nice, and all of that information is online.
Yes, except the new program, it'll be up tomorrow.
Very good. Great job, Lauren. Thank you. Chief Dens, do you have anything for us?
The only thing I have tonight, madam, is to make the public aware that starting next Thursday, the 15th, the overnight parking ban goes in effect for the town of West Seneca. There's no parking allowed on the streets between 1 a.m. and 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. Every day. That's to help match crews out with plowing.
Very good, very good. Matthew English, do you have anything for us?
I have nothing.
Very good. John Pence, do you have anything for us?
All set, sir. Thank you.
Very good. Jackman Felser, do you have anything? Councilman Hart, do you have anything?
No, I do not.
Councilman Hanley, do you have anything?
Yeah, I would like to say congratulations to Norm, you earned it, you guys worked, you earned all your, every time you get, you guys earn it, so congratulations.
And that just reminded me, Norm, thank you for all the work you do at East Seneca Fire Hall.
Yes, and the Green Boy too.
Yes.
Two fine men.
I didn't skip a beat. Mr. Greenan was also a fireman at this time.
Yes, we are blessed with some
Thank
great
you.
kids.
Thank you for the work you do.
Very nice. Thank you both. And also, I just want to congratulate West Seneca East for winning the championship and that division they're moving on. So it's pretty cool to have two high schools with such extraordinary talent. And I would also just like to thank all those men and women who have served this great country and continue to serve. You're welcome. And remember, on Sunday, if you're available at 11:11 right here on this campus, they do an incredible job to honor our veterans. And with that being said, I'd like to bid everyone a fabulous evening. Go home, be safe, God bless. And if we have any students, you could come on up here and I'll sign it for you.
2 Mondays from now, it's the week of